Welcome back to Sprague Homestead. I'm Kanan. Today we're going to go through the steps of putting our geodesic domes back into service. So it is towards the latter part, probably the, third week of May here in 2024. We're getting ready to get our geodesic domes back together. So last year, if you follow the channel or any of our Facebook, Instagram, etc., we had one dome. If I spin around here, I'll show you. This is the dome we had last year. We only ran one. We had the second one get damaged, so we knew we'd put it back into service this year. So we've done that, and I'll go through and explain it. So this is the one previously we used. We did all of our tomatoes and peppers and everything in buckets last year. Garden beds were in, but they had no dirt in them, so we just took the tomatoes later in the year to protect them and put them in there. So this will be something I'll explain a little bit later, how to get it ready, but it's going to be pretty close to what we have. So these two are the primary focus of what I'm working on, because the dome from last year already has the basic steps. We're just kind of refreshing it, getting it ready. So these domes, if you've never seen them before here on the channel or know what they are constructed from the thicker wall, the pressurized PVC. They use a center hub. It's either 5 or 6 holes or 4 on the bottom. It can be done. They use a strut. And it's a very good, solid construction. Now, if you've never seen us use these on the channel, I'll put a link up in the corner there. That will show you how to build them. They're pretty simple. They're held together with zip ties, and you think, no way these things can survive. But really, these things can handle snow in the winter. The only thing that really gets them is wind, and I'll show you how we're going to beat that. So here's the two I created. I made one kit of the brand new one. That is the one over there. That is all brand new that I made over winter. This is the one that was damaged last year. I had extra parts from creating what we'll call as Dome 2 there. And I had extra parts that I've now fixed and got Dome 3 up together. So as you can see, if I spin slowly around here, Dome 1, we'll call it, the one that's currently erected, has the stakes and the straps or the bungees holding it to the ground, because these things are susceptible to wind and they will topple if they're not done to the ground. So these first two, I need to go ahead and get our stakes together, stake them to the ground with the bungees, and then I can move into filling them in for the next step. All right, so each one of these bottom hubs now is going to be staked down, and we usually use a simple bungee to tie it down. So these are just an 8-inch stake, tent stake essentially, and you can just put those right in the ground, angle them out slightly just to give a little bit of tension on there so they don't, not as easy to pull up. And then you're just going to run the bungee through the center of the hub. All right, now once you have all your hubs staked to the ground, the next piece to do is we're going to lay cardboard down underneath our garden beds. Now in the past we haven't done this, and we fought grass tooth and nail. It always, by the end of the season, you're going to have grass up through your beds and everything else. So we've been kind of hoarding cardboard, knowing we were going to do this. So you can see that we have got our cardboard underneath the beds, and then we have them in a circular fashion with a gap to our doorway. You can do your best to just center it there. Just make sure you have an easy ability to get in and out, because you're going to be carrying a hose or dragging a hose in there from the water source. Now, in the bottom of it, we are putting in Homesteader's Gold. This is compost that we have out of our pile. So you've got rabbit, goat, all the good stuff in there. This is sat for at least since last year. Every time we clean barns or rabbits, we just put it in the compost pile, let it kind of degrade a little bit. So we're going to fill the bottom half, so you can see right to roughly the bottom edge of the top board, or the bottom, or the top of the bottom board, sorry, there. And about 1 bucket full is a little bit, about 2 1/3 maybe, something like that. So Nikki's driving the tractor, I'm scooping the compost. We'll get these all filled in before we move on to the next piece. So the magic of the internet, we're going to jump ahead a few weeks from filling the boxes, because we have everything planted. So what you can see here is now all 3 domes have their plastic on, and we filled the boxes with all of the manure and dirt, then put the plastic on. Now this plastic is 6 mil or 8 mil greenhouse plastic on the inside, or the outside I should say. It does have a UV protection layer, so it's great for obviously kind of shading the plants, but it does get very warm. Usually keeps everything inside up to 20 to 30 degrees warmer in the day, and you can get 20 overnight. Here's just the 3 domes. This was one roll. It's a 100-foot roll by 30 wide. We cut it into thirds, so 33 by 30 will cover a dome. It'll give you plenty around the bottom. And this is the same as we've done for years, and I'll put a link up to the originals that we did and built, and then there's always links to products that we use to do this down in the description. So here's a look inside of Dome 2. This has the most things. We have tomatoes planted in a lot of the beds. They're doing marginal. Some have not taken the transformation or the transplant well, but you can see as I pan around here, these are all tomatoes of different varieties. And it does get pretty warm in here, so you can see some are doing well, some are not. Everything around the barrel is peppers. So Nikki has these spaced out around, I think these are hot peppers if I remember right, coming in, and some bell peppers. So we have everything around the barrels. And these barrels all day, oh man, that's almost too hot. They take in temperature all day long, and by the time you get to about 9 o'clock when we close these up after the sun's starting to go down, they're still warm to the touch. So they keep everything in here overnight, probably 10 to 20 degrees warmer than the outside. So we've had some 20s. I think the lowest I remember seeing was 23 degrees outside. So we threw on some frost blankets over the tomatoes and the peppers. Put 2 layers on there or 1 layer on there, depending on how cold the temperature is. Everything has survived as long as it hasn't died from transplant. Now there's all 3 of the domes put back together. They're ready to plant. Obviously the peppers are in there. We'll keep them in the buckets. Tomatoes need a little bit more for the roots, so we'll put those in the boxes. And then Nikki's got some other things she's going to plant. We have been waiting until we got through this major cold snap. Normally we do on June 1st, we start getting everything planted, but for whatever reason, the 15 days said, hey, by the way, it's going to be low 20s coming up as projected. So we held off planting those in. And now that we've gotten through there, we're into the 90s. We probably don't need to cover anymore. Just go ahead and close up our domes there. You can see the zipper over my shoulder. Close those in, and now we'll get everything planted, as well as the hoop dome, and then the garden's pretty well done. We've got potatoes in, horseradish, all the usual stuff out in the raised beds. So if you have any questions on building these domes or any of the stuff we're growing this year, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And that's it for this time. Don't forget to check out the links down in the description if you need any of this stuff or want to check out what we're doing. We'll see you next time.